we're going to talk about a movie I love called The Selling, and it was one of your picks. Made in 2011. The director is Emmylou Wilbur, and the writer happens to also be the star of the movie, Gabriel Diani. I hope I didn't butcher that name. And what did you think of this movie, Scott?
I, the reason I suggested it to you is I loved this film. It again, it checked all the boxes for me on comedy horror.
Yep.
I thought the whole thing was well done. The idea that you're selling. So the premise of this movie is you've got Mr. Honest. He refuses to lie about anything, right? And he has to sell a haunted house that is currently haunted by, I think it's like 12 different spirits in this house, right? Some of the scenes when he's walking potential buyers through this home and him trying to explain things they are the best ever.
It's comedy gold. Apparently, Gabriel Diani is a stand-up comic, and the writing on this is so good.
Oh, it's great.
It's very crisp. There's so many elements of this that were laugh out loud, like the scenes that you mentioned. The elements that really struck to me were the acting. The performances in this were just well beyond a smaller budget movie.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't figure out exactly what the budget was, but definitely his first movie, and it is a low budget movie. The performances are great. The writing was fantastic. It was true comedy. And the one element that really stuck to me was that very early on, they encounter ghosts, and unlike the requirement in most horror movies for the characters to be stupid, they instantly, it's like, when the house says get the fuck out, they're going to get the fuck out of the house.
Yes, it was great. Man, that's what I loved about it, right? Was that it wasn't like your normal horror where it's like, Amityville Horror, get out, and everybody goes, it's all right. No, this was so well written and so well acted that the way they reacted to the spirits in this home was just gold. It was gold. It was so good. And I couldn't get over the idea of actually selling a haunted house where he's having to admit that it's haunted, right? He's trying to sell it as a highlight of the home.
And there were two other elements that they managed to successfully pull off. One was that we could really relate to the characters.
Yes.
We cared about the characters. The mom with cancer, it made us empathize with the primary characters. And there were truly scary moments. There were scary moments near the end of the movie that reminded very much of The Frighteners. That's the kind of feel that I got out of this. So this hit all the points for me. It was comedy. It was well written. It was well acted. It had scary moments. It had dramatic moments, and we cared about the characters, and you rooted for the characters, and the characters acted and responded in a realistic way when they encountered a house that had ghosts. They acknowledged it right away. But then there's a great scene where he comes back and says, my mom has cancer. I've got to sell this house. I'm not leaving.
Right. And he tells the ghosts that. Yeah. That's the whole thing. He tells them, no, you're not going to scare me out of here. And here's the thing, Cynthia, that I loved about this film. And it's so rare, I think, to find films like this. A nice, steady build up to the end.
Yes.
It's not like they're hitting you left and right all through the film. They're building it up. They're giving you little scary moments throughout this, but they build it up to this finale, which I mean, when the movie ended, it's one of those few times when I was sad that the movie ended.
I would like to see more from this writer and from this director. There were so many great moments, and there were also some uncomfortable moments. There's a great scene where his buddy literally vomits on his mouth, and there's another comment about when they're using a goat, and the comment is, we're going to need a bigger goat. There's just some,
I love that. We're going to need a bigger goat.
Because of all of those elements, I loved it. I can't say enough about it. I can't recommend it enough. And this is a fantastic example of how the story and the quality of the writing can make a small budget movie really successful without needing, millions of dollars to produce and create.
So, simple question. This movie was well done. It was a lot of fun to watch. It was made all the way back in 2011.
Yep.
What Why do you think we haven't seen anything else from this director and writer? I mean, this was the one they dropped their load on this and then they went, well, that didn't go anywhere, so you just stop. But I mean, this is one of those ones you look at and go, well, where's some more from them?
It's a great question. I'd love to talk to this director. I want to see more. There's another movie with Gabriel in it, and a female co-star that would be worth checking out that I have not seen yet. But
Yeah.
I'd love to know. Clearly, we all know the business is very, very difficult, and making a great movie is one thing. Getting it picked up, recognized, and getting additional opportunities is great. But this is the kind of movie that if I had a producer, I would go to this writer, I would go to this director and say, hey, you guys have shown incredible creativity. Let's go do something with a higher budget.
Yeah, I think the movie industry is a lot like the book industry. I think it's just luck.
It is.
Yeah,
I think so.
yeah. I mean, you look at the guys who did the Lego movie, and suddenly they're directing, Captain America,
Yeah.
right? Because everybody loved the Lego movie. I just think a lot of this is luck and being found at the right time.
I agree. We were talking about Harpoon versus The Ritual.
Yeah.
The Ritual is a little bit more polished. It got bought and picked up out of the film circuit. Harpoon, which has very creative writing that reminds me of the quality writing here, didn't.
Yeah.
So there's got to be a lot of luck factor involved and a lot of good timing and being at the right place at the right time. But I would have loved to seen a lot more from this writer and director. So love to talk to him and see if we can track them down.
Yeah, I think we should, just because I am absolutely fascinated as to why they didn't move on and do another one. Again, though, I am guessing this movie, I mean, even $50,000 is a lot of money, Senthil. I mean, it's not like you just pick that up out of the bank and go make a movie. And,
Yes.
maybe it just, here we were and we did it and it's done. But it's such a disservice, though, when you see something like this that really is done well and it just doesn't get any of the credit it deserves.
I agree. In fact, there's a cameo at the very early in the movie from Simon Helberg when he was already famous on The Big Bang Theory. And it's a very small cameo. I'd love to find out the backstory behind how they got him on the movie and the fact that he literally does a very short cameo, very effective one.
If you're looking for a great time, something you can watch with, let's call it your older teenagers and the spouse at night, this is fun. It's a lot of fun to watch. It's not over the top gory. There's some really good, Senthil, I think you said it right. Like The Frighteners, there's some great things that happen towards the end of this. It's one of those films that I enjoyed so much that I've actually told several people about it and they've watched it and actually enjoyed it too. So for me, this is one of the rare occasions in movies that we've watched that I loved. It's a Psycho Gorman. Loved every damn moment of it.
One of the lines in there, there's a ghost voice that says, "Get out." And his response, "I'm trying."
Yeah.
And then they both make it out to the car and they realize they left the key inside the house. And very realistically, and it's another great comedy moment. The next thing you see is their mom has had to come and pick them up because
yes,
they weren't going to go back inside the house to get their keys.
I know it. It was, again, there's just so many of those beautiful moments that are going. And that's what I liked about this film. It was realistic.
It was.
That is how real people would react to a haunted house. Now, it gets a little goofy towards the end of it, right? Because he has to sell it because his mom's got cancer. So they kind of have to push it down. But at the beginning of it, that's how people would react.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
I loved it. So again, the director is Emily Lou Wilbur. You can find this on Amazon. So you can watch it right now on Amazon. I would get the opportunity and sit down.
Highly recommend it.